Facing challenges and overcoming setbacks is part of doing business. Whether you have the expertise to survive them or not could mean the difference between success or failure. Welcome to We Are Women, featuring revealing conversations that provide invaluable insights into the success secrets of female masterminds. A must listen for every entrepreneurial woman. Now here's your host, Janine Vosper.
Hi, and welcome to this episode of the We Are Women podcast. I have to tell you, Vicki and I have sat here and chatted for 30 minutes, and I realised I hadn't pressed the record button. This will be a repeat of what we've already said. It's brilliant information. You're going to love it. Let me introduce Vicki to you. Vicki Tate has been a passionate nurse for over 45 years. Oh, I've got 5 decades, Vicki. It's even longer than I thought it was. While working as a junior nurse, she sustained 2 significant injuries that changed her life path. At 45, she was dismissed from nursing due to complications from those injuries, and even though she had sought treatment every 2 weeks for 10 years, she was introduced to the gentle therapy of Ortho-Bionomy and instantly knew that this is where her calling was. Vicki has had thriving practices in Brisbane, Stanthorpe, and is now in Moreton Bay. She has developed programs for those with scoliosis, whiplash, headaches, and back pain. Her work and shoulder pain. You helped me with my shoulder pain too, Vicki. Her work with Vietnam Veterans Counselling Service was groundbreaking and in high demand by the families and the men, particularly to relieve issues of chronic pain, anger management, and anxiety. Vicki is developing programs for corporations and online to improve performance, alleviate and prevent workplace injuries, and enhance lifestyle. Vicki wants to reach more people so they don't have to suffer needlessly. Today, she lives on a quiet rural property. She's not very quiet herself, though. You'll see that. She's a busy lady just north of Brisbane, and she's with her chickens and her vegetable. There's a word there, vegetable garden.
New word.
Vicki, welcome. Oh, people are wondering why we're laughing, but it is the second, third, and we've had internet issues, and we've got the interview happening now, and we just went on for half an hour. Didn't record. I'm so glad we're recording now. I really am very glad that you can be with us. I said Ortho-Bionomy. I have a bit of understanding about what that is, but I believe that most people would be going, I don't know what Ortho-Bionomy is. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that?
Yes, I can, Janine. I was the same as you when I first was recommended to go and see an osteopath. She did this very gentle work. And now, as you said, I've been getting treatment every fortnight for 10 years. It did prevent me from having both arms that I couldn't use. And then I was referred to this osteopath. She did this really gentle work, like very gentle. And within 3 visits, I was so much better. I went, wow, that was amazing. I want to do what she's doing. And I found out that she was doing Ortho-Bionomy. Now, I had a really big knowledge of natural therapies and had never heard of Ortho-Bionomy, couldn't say it, couldn't spell it, and the person who recommended me couldn't even explain it. So she said, come along, we're having an introduction evening. So I did. I went along and immediately knew this was me. This is where I needed to be. So it works with the central nervous system, helping to alleviate those misunderstandings that happen during accidents and injuries and sometimes emotional turmoil. Works with the automatic part of the nervous system known as the autonomic nervous system. And the belief is that the body has a self-healing reflex. And we've all seen it. We've all had infections. We've had operations. We've had cuts and bruises. We've had broken bones, and we've got better. And every toddler has had God knows how many bangs on the heads, bangs on the knees, falls over backwards, whatever, and they get better every single time. It's just how the body is designed. It wants to be well. And all we need to do is stimulate those self-healing reflexes, and the body does the work. It's a brilliant miracle machine, and I love it. the other reason I love it is because it uses positions of comfort. Now, as you said, I'd had treatment every fortnight for 10 years. I had endured a lot of pain during those treatments, and it still didn't stop me from being in pain and stop me from using the ability of both of my arms.
That's persistent, though. I have to interrupt you. That is very, very persistent.
When you're a single mum and you've got a mortgage and you're in pain, you'll do anything to be able to keep working.
Yeah.
There, you know, you do what you have to at the time. Anyway, so I had these injuries, and when I received these treatments and got better so quickly, I went, I just need to know about it. And as soon as I experienced it in a class, I went, right, that's it. I'm signing up for the full training. 5 years, here I come. And loved every minute of it, and still do. I still get surprises. I still see miracles every week, and it's just, it just blows my mind.
Look, I have to give you testimony and recommendations for anyone that is suffering from pain on any level. I know I've had treatments with Vicki over the years when she was a little bit closer to me than where she is now, and just amazing the difference it made. Mine was particularly shoulders and neck, and it really, really helpful. I was amazed at how gentle it was on the body, and with the expectation that physio or chiro or massage even that you have to be treating the spot, but this actually is quite the reverse of that. But you use the word misunderstandings, and I just wanted to clarify on what level is the body misunderstanding things?
Can be on any level, actually. So the ortho-bionomy actually means ortho meaning straight nor correct, bio life, and nomi study. So it's bringing all of your life forces back into their correct position. Now, none of us are symmetrical, and our correct position is not the anatomical textbook. It is the best position that your body can be. And so the misunderstandings can be emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever, chemical. And by actually listening deeply to the body, giving it what it's asking for, paying a lot of attention. I think I have two skills that have been very useful for me with ortho-bionomy. One is my observation. I'm a great people watcher. I love sitting in cafes watching people walk by and go, oh, gee, his shoulder's sore. Oh, he's got a sore knee. So observation and tactile. I'm very tactile. You'll see when I talk, I move around a lot. There's a lot going on. And so, yeah, what I sense through my hands, I can't explain to anybody else. It's, as I said, I was born a healer.
I testimony again to that, Vicki, because in the time that I've known you, I don't know, 6-8 years or something, it definitely, that's how I see you as. And I know that for people who believe in soul groups, there's healers amongst us that are just have to be healers. There's teachers. I know I'm a teacher. I have to teach. And it's just, I can't not share information. And healers are the same. I've got a beautiful friend who's nearly the same time frame as you. She just retired after 55 years in nursing, and she's a healer as well. And I can't stop her from doing things. And you're the same. You can't stop them from jumping in and fixing things. And yeah. That's the sort of person that you want working on you, though.
Yeah. I'll go and visit. Family are the hardest people to work on. They're the most resistant. You know, they say you can't be a philosopher in your own town. Mm. And it's a little bit like that with healers as well. And I virtually have to kidnap my family and throw them on the bed or the dining table or whatever's available. And they're always grateful and always get amazing results. But the healer is there, and I can't take it out of me. And when I see someone in pain, I just want to help them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about my household with delivering information. You know, I'll say something that seems pretty obvious to me, but nothing's taken up. But then some remote stranger will say the same thing.
Someone at a supermarket, yeah.
It's okay. I have people pay me now for the things that I say, so all good with that.
Yeah. And I'm a little bit the same as like, yeah, okay, I offer, and you don't want to come, that's okay. But if you happen to be in the same room as me and you happen to complain about it, you will be basically tackled onto the table, and you're going to lie there. We're going to get this sorted, because I'm not going to hear this rubbish from you anymore.
That's my thing. Is if you complain, that's when I'll step in. Yeah. Now, so you've been nursing a long time. Was that just always something that, I mean, we said you're a healer. Has that always been within you?
Yeah, so when I was 4, I made a conscious decision I was going to be a nurse. I was one of the inaugural members of the Red Cross at school, and I did, as a teenager, my parents did everything they could to dissuade me from nursing. They had bigger, better ideas for me, and I did what teenagers do. I very quietly manoeuvred in the background, organised my subjects at school. I'd done the research, God knows how. We didn't have internet.
You didn't have internet those days. It was
No.
a carrier pigeon, wasn't it? No, sorry.
Yeah, it was, smoke signals. And so somehow I got the information. I don't even know how I did that. And I knew exactly what I needed, my minimum requirements to get into the Royal Brisbane Hospital Nursing School. And they were the only ones in Brisbane at the time that accepted students at 16. And so I did everything that I needed to do, put in my application. I was a C grade student at school, like super average. And I got into nursing school and just thrived. I was suddenly top of the class, and it was like I was home. And it didn't matter how many weekends, how many bits of overtime, how many, that we had scratchy uniforms, starch uniforms, and we weren't allowed to wear makeup. We weren't allowed to wear nail polish. We weren't allowed to wear coloured underwear. There was just went on and on and on. It was part military, part monastic existence. We had to live in dormitories. We could only go out one night a week. If your room wasn't tidy, you got a note saying, Nurse Tate, your room is not tidy enough. If it's not tidy by 2:00 on Wednesday, you'll be reported to the matron, and that sort of stuff. So, and we lived in a 10 by 10 room, with a bed, a desk and a wardrobe and a chair. That was it.
That is so different than nurses going through doing their training now. But yes. I know from my friend Marie's experiences, having all of that contact clinic time, and when you're in the real world dealing with real world problems, it's so different than people who have studied at university and coming through, and because you don't know that you're really not going to like it. It's still somebody that has to change the pans and do that work no matter what. And if you're it, then you're the one doing it.
Yeah. It's a very different culture now, and people will just ring up an hour before the shift and say, "Oh no, I'm sick," and then you find out on Facebook that they're down at the pub with their friends. There's no loyalty to the profession and your role. I mean, we got lectures from the matron, Elizabeth Annabelle, telling us that this is your major responsibility. If you have a family member who's ill, they are adults. You are here to look after the people who need you, and you will be letting down the whole team if you don't turn up. So you do not stay at home. If it's your husband or your boyfriend or your mother or your father, you come to work.
Yeah, that's fairly direct, isn't it? But it's probably that I know there. Look, and this is a lot of generalization, but the baby boomers have always been renowned for that work ethic. And I think a lot of the way we learnt things were very much drilled into us as opposed to how it is now. And whether that was right or wrong, the way we received the information, I think it created that in general, again, I'm being really general here, but that really strong work ethic, and maybe sometimes that's not the right thing, thinking that you have to work hard for your money. Is that if that's stuck within you, well, then that's what you're going to own. But it definitely has done that and has created that. But it's not all generations. I know my husband's been working with my sons the last 2 days this week, and he's just come home and gone, their work ethic, one's the owner, manager of the business, the other one's working there. He said their work ethic is just off the charts. They just go from the moment he gets there. So it's not probably that's learned behaviour as well from their
maybe something to do with their family training.
It possibly, yeah. But it is that, we're gone off the health chart, our health focus, but I think that's something that's still very important in anything, is recognizing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and to get the results that you want to get. And it's the same with health, isn't it? They were doing those for 10 years and they weren't getting the results, whereas switching over to the Ortho-Bionomy meant that you did. The long-term health effects for people, what are you seeing mostly, and why? I think that's because there's always an underlying thing. It's not just, I was throwing a ball and my shoulder's out. There's more to it, isn't it, than that?
Yes, it is. It's we call it the all of a sudden syndrome. I bent over to pick a coffee cup up and all of a sudden I can't walk. Or like you say, I was throwing a ball for my kids and all of a sudden my shoulders sore. I was one of those all of a suddens. I had issues from some of the treatments I received as a nurse, and that played havoc on my body and didn't show up until those mid-40 years. And I realised my bones, my tendons, my joints, my gut, my nervous system had all been compromised, and I've been in the process of trying to repair that all this time. And so that all of a sudden had, a 30-year history. And all chronic disease doesn't happen yesterday and it shows up today. All chronic diseases are a long time coming, usually 20 years or more. And so the patterns that I'm seeing are, obesity, and that's lifestyle choices in food, and the nutrition in our food. Our food's not grown the same way it was. It's not stored the same way it was. We're not eating fresh. Things are ripened artificially. They're stored artificially. They're covered in wax and goodness knows what else to try and maintain the freshness. So if we're not getting the nutrition cellularly, then the cells can't reproduce well and in a healthy way. We're doing so much sitting. Like even when I was a kid, we carried those stupid cardboard backpacks.
I know, that's where most of my neck and back issues have come from, is walking, 10 kilometres to school in the snow. And no, it wasn't snowing. It was in Queensland. It was the dripping sweat. Yeah. So we've been sitting for way too long. We used to walk everywhere. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I used to have to walk to the bus stop, catch the bus to the tram station, and then catch the tram into town, and then walk to where I needed to go, and then catch the tram back, and so on and so forth. We had one car in the family, and we had to walk. We had a shop a few blocks away, and my mother would send me with a note, and I'd go down and buy stuff from the shop and then have to cart it home. We walked everywhere. So I'm seeing people sitting way too long, and sitting is the new, cancer, basically. Our muscles lose strength, our joints lose integrity, our posture is appalling. We've got so many people doing this now. And what I see in my practice is that so many joint issues, so many problems with pain, chronic pain, come from a basic of we don't know how to stand our own 2 feet anymore. I teach probably 2/3 of my clients how to stand on their feet. And once they can do that, it's like, oh, that feels different. Because when we talk posture, most people do this, right? Chest out, shoulders back, tummy in. That's what we were taught.
They were almost right. What they forgot was our feet are the things that touch the earth. We have to get the feet right. And if your feet aren't standing on the ground properly, then nothing above that. Because you've got these great long sticks with pulleys, and then you've got all this stuff that moves around on top of that. You've got to have a good system. And so, yeah, I love posture, mainly because my posture was terrible. I'm very tall, and I used to be incredibly thin. And when you're tall and thin, if you don't have good posture, all of your joints suffer because they're trying to hold you up when your muscles and your tendons aren't. Yeah,
I know. One of the yoga teachers I worked with years ago, she talked about posture, and particularly about, that was one of the things she always drummed into us, was stand on 2 feet and put the weight evenly on those 2 feet, standing in line at the bank or whatever. Yeah. And I forget, then I remember, you go, oh, I've got to stand on 2 feet. And because now I teach people how to present, it's something I'm really conscious of, particularly a lot of the newsreaders or people on a lot of the hosts on shows, they'll stand cross-legged, and that is a factor that is a bit, protect me. I'm here in public, I've got my legs crossed. I just want to knock on the heads and say, stand on 2 feet. It comes across in everything, but it is for the health part as well as I know what I'm doing, owning your presence when you're standing on 2 feet, and the body does feel like I am here.
Yes, and so everything that all of the postural muscles activate when you actually use your feet correctly. And I don't know how many people in our age group who have orthotics or who have ankle or foot problems, tendonitis in their feet, fasciitis, Achilles problems, arch problems, ankle problems, knee problems, hip problems. They're nearly all coming from your feet. And then we've got the shoulder and neck. It's amazing how many people.
Every time you say that, I just got to roll mine.
Yeah, just take. So while you're sitting in the chair, Janine, just push your feet into the floor.
Yeah.
And then really get onto your sit bones and use your core to sit up and let your shoulders drop.
Yeah, the shoulders drop.
Feel better already?
Yeah, I was doing that, except my feet were firmly placed on the legs of the chair.
Yeah, so put your feet on the ground. And as soon as you do that, you can feel all your postural muscles in your legs, your hamstrings and your quads all activating, and your glutes. And then your core, and then, because all of this stuff above the pelvis, there are all these little tiny bones that are meant, that's where our movement comes from. Those big bones are just meant to be stabilizers. They're our stumps and our what do you call the floorboard? Not the floorboards, the bearers of the house. Yeah. And if you don't have those correct, like if you're doing a reno on an old house and you don't get that right, none of the windows or doors are ever going to work properly.
No, it's a good point. I don't have your problem of being tall and thin, and that reaching the chair legs is the comfortable height of the chair.
You might need to change your chair height or your desk height.
Yes, no, but that's no, I totally get it. I think I just need to grow 2 inches taller, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. Now. No. Not at all.
Not a done thing.
No. So repetitive injuries, that's a different thing, but it's the same thing as well. I know I used to teach 16 aerobic classes a week, and I used to train and I used to run.
Wow.
That I have a few repetitive injuries in my knees. They're pretty good, actually, considering, but every so often there'll be a slight twist or something that I fell off a push bike with my grandson on, and I was riding about a year ago, and it's taken nearly a year to get it back to not being able to kneel on it and not twist, and so it takes longer to heal. Yeah, but I think the injury, why it's done that, is because of all the running and people who run.
Like I said, it's those all of a sudden injuries often have got a 20, 30-year history. And as we get older, our cell reproduction is a little bit slower. The mitochondria, the little batteries in our cells, they're not quite as sparky as they used to be. You go to an 8-year-old birthday party and you go to an 80-year-old birthday party and you can see how the mitochondria are working. That's very different. Very different.
Absolutely. I know my 8-year-old grandson comes in and I go, you have bruises all over you. He's like, I fell in, I ran into a door, I fell off the bike.
And that's normal.
And he's proud of them.
Yeah. So I see repetitive injuries a lot now from people who are spending lots of time in front of desks. And yeah, it's just a matter of that when we spend so much time indoors, we're not giving our whole body the range of movement that it needs. We're not developing that strength. We're not helping the lymphatic system move the garbage out of the joints back to the main frame so that we can have a clean system. We're not eating clean. Most of us say, oh, I have a pretty healthy diet. And then when you really do nut it down, the basic minimum is 5 vegetables and 2 fruits a day with good quality protein and a small amount of carbohydrate. And most people, you'll find they're having carbohydrate every meal plus their snacks. They're not having very much protein in at least 2 of the meals. And when you say, so how many cups of vegetables? Most people, it's 2 a day. And the minimum is 5. But for a healthy body, you really need 8 to 10.
Wow. Okay, that's hard to fit in, isn't it?
Well, it depends. You can do it. You can do it. Cut up a whole lot of parsley and chives and silver beet or whatever, and put it in an omelette with some mushrooms. Okay, that's at least 1 cup. And then you have a salad with that. That's another cup. And then you have your nighttime meal. You have more. And then if you have, if you can do it, you can do it. But we forget that we need a lot of vegetables to get the phytonutrients to keep our bodies running well. Otherwise, we start seeing those chronic diseases, heart disease, arthritis, Alzheimer's, the diabetes. They're the 4 biggies. And mental health. Mental health, they're saying mental health now, a lot of it is poor nutrition. Yes. And
it's been interesting over the last 2 years that nutrition wasn't something that was focused on, and neither was getting outside, neither was.
We need 3 more hours to talk about that, Janine.
We could, that's just a simple observation, isn't it? That the things you're talking about to have a healthy body, it were not a focus over the last 2 years. They were, let's lock people up and stop them moving and stop them having contact. And I know you and I are on the same field. I'm not going to get into that, but it just makes, we're talking about health now, it just made no sense whatsoever to do the things that were adverse to what makes people as healthy as possible to deal with whatever illness came their way.
And community is one of those things that's really important to health. That's part of mental health. It's also part of cellular health. And there's lots and lots of studies about that. And the stats reflect that.
Yeah. And it just makes sense. I know I have always been one to move the body, but in the last year I've been, and it is lazier. But for me, it's I'm not making a judgment. It's just a fact that I've been lazier than I have been in the past, and especially in winter, I'm just hibernate. But it's again when I go out and I really need to push myself. I've always walked. I've walked nearly every country town in Queensland through work and every time I went somewhere. But to get out and walk recently, I thought, I'm going to hand out some election how to vote things because that was a purpose behind it. And sometimes we need a purpose to go do something, a purpose to eat well, a purpose to go and move the body. There has to be that why there, doesn't it? It's not just saying do this and you'll go, yeah, sure.
And I know quite a few people in this sort of, baby boomer age group who've got themselves a puppy because it gets them out of the house. And I live by myself, and I know that when I'm cooking for myself, I can be really lazy. Having an audience to cook for is wonderful. And so when we were locked up and we couldn't go visit other people, there's a lot of people stuck at home who were not eating well, who were stuck in front of the television that was telling them this, that, and the other. And very sad circumstances for many. But thank goodness we're starting to see some common sense and people are starting to move about again. And hopefully we'll see some good health outcomes from that.
Yes, yeah, and that the the generations coming through have not been adversely affected and can realise the importance of what we're talking about now.
Yes.
Because I've been sitting in front of a computer for say 20 years, but the next generations come through. My grandchildren are like this, which the people listening can't hear. I can't see, but those watching can. And it's head down looking at their tablets. And I bought them bean bags so that they can have it up and it's more eye contact, or they can pop it up on the bean bag and sit and watch it that way. So they're not got this head down. But that's 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, that mine are 6 and 8 that are doing it, but it's how bad are their necks going to be, and the chronic injuries in that?
I know. That's why I need to get to more people, Janine. They need me. They need me at 15 instead of 50.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's really important what you're going to be doing with corporate also is because, if you've got injury and got pain, then you're taking time off. It just makes so much sense for any business to invest in the health and wellness of their staff to help them, one, just because they're good citizens, to enable people to be as well as possible. But when you're looking at the bottom line, it makes sense to invest in that to avoid having long-term injuries or compensation claims from injuries and
even poor performance, even just poor performance. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, people who have got a little bit of neck and shoulder strain from their repetitive work on the computer or phone, their performance starts to fade. So if people can have full energy and thinking capacity right through the whole shift of their day, then you're going to get an extra 10-15% out of your workers, bottom line. That's even without injury. Then you've got most people leave a job because they feel like no one cares about them, that their boss isn't paying any attention and no one cares. Well, if you've got a workplace that's putting in place these programs that are really simple that you can do at your desk, and then someone comes around and says, oh, you're looking like you're a bit stiff. How about you do a couple of these things, or take 10 minutes off and go outside and do some stretches or whatever. You feel like someone cares. And replacing staff, I visit a few venues with, networking and stuff like that. There's one particular venue that I love going to, but every time I go, nearly every single person there is brand new.
Yeah, that's very telling. I have that with one of the law firms I speak at. I've been speaking with them for over 3 years and I've dealt with 8 different people.
Yep. And so that's a huge cost, cost impost.
Absolutely.
Because not only are you having to retrain people, and these days you've got to do the workplace harassment, the health and safety, the fire, the first aid, the this, the that, the something else. That all takes, 3-4 days out of their work life. But then they walk out with intellectual property. You have invested in them, and they go and they go somewhere else, and they go, oh, I know this really good system that I use here. I can show you how to do that. It's counterproductive to not have good, healthy staff. And so, I just really, and I really feel for people at desk, because I'm not naturally a desk person. And as I'm building my business to be online and working with corporates, I'm having to spend more time at the desk, and I'm feeling it. And I'm only there for 2-3 hours a day. And so people who are spending all day there every day, long term, it's going to have massive effects on their body. And I really want There's no need for people to suffer.
No
need for people to suffer. And the trouble is that they don't know the simple ways. They get sent off to physio or wherever, and it may help and it may not. I get lots of different stories in the business that I'm in. But if I can show people how to prevent something, how to stop it from becoming a problem, how to have I call it my little first aid toolkit. You've got a first aid toolkit for these particular symptoms. This is what you do. This is how you do it. And this is how it will feel afterwards. And they go, oh, that's so easy. I wish I knew that.
Yeah. And once you know something, you become aware of it, you can then at least have the tools, as you said, to implement something that's going to help either prevent it from getting worse and relieve it from where it is.
Yeah. It's simple, it's profound, it's long-lasting, and it's transformative. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It just hits so many bases, and I you can tell I love it, and it's a shame not more people know about it. And it's based on the Ortho-Bionomy principles, and it's a joy to see people just go, oh my goodness, if only I'd known.
Yeah, make a big difference. And that, as you said, it's that sense of belonging in a workplace. I know the workplace I was at, every second Monday a masseur would come in and just do a 15-minute on all of the staff and neck and shoulders, and she wasn't the best massage therapist I'd ever had, I have to admit that, and because I have some very good ones, but it was just that sense of, well, good, let's get out of the desk and away from it and do some work. And then it was also the place was investing in us to help.
Someone cares.
Help. Yeah.
Someone cares.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. And that makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it does. And there's a lot of businesses out there that genuinely care about their staff, that they also can see the benefit to their bottom line by keeping their staff and keeping their staff healthy and well. And
both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely. Vicki, we always ask for some takeaway points.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share your takeaway points, please? So there's been so much discussion on so many good points here. If there's nothing else that you don't remember from the whole conversation, then please take these points away.
Well, Janine, I think the first one is listen to your body. It is talking to you. If it's telling you something hurts or something is strained, listen to it, pay attention. But also learn to understand what those messages are. And that's where I can help you, because we haven't been taught how to interpret it. We've been thought, if this is tight, then you've got to stretch it out till it hurts and then it's going to get better. Whereas I can show you a way where you can actually acknowledge that. And the thing about your body, it never lies. Always tells the truth. Your head will tell you all sorts of rubbish, but your body never lies. And learn as much as you can from those who've gone before you, and believe in yourself. Trust yourself.
Yeah, and that goes right across everything that you're doing, isn't it? To be able to trust and have that belief that you have the capacity to be of value in everything that you do. But believe. Yeah, I
often have people come into my clinic and they'll say, I've got this injury and da-da-da. And I say, what do you think it's from? And they're, I think it's from, a bike accident I had when I was 12, but the doctor says that couldn't possibly be. And I go, okay, tell me about the bike accident. Because 90% of the time or more, those instincts are true.
Yes, yeah. And I've had a discussion with somebody on one of the other episodes talking about the gut having its brain, and that it was brilliant, and it is that they've discovered that the gut has a brain, and we need to pay attention to those feelings in the gut, because they work better than the ones that the thoughts and ideas and the rationalization that comes from our thinking and just going with the gut usually makes a better decision.
And the heart has a brain as well.
Yes.
So we've got 3 brains.
Yeah.
At least.
Quite incredible. So being able to trust, though, not just looking for a logical answer to something, as opposed to how something might feel or how it feels in the gut to you, whether it feels right or wrong. It's important. Yeah, and that something that I do if I'm not sure about a decision on something, and then I'll, rather than trying to rationalize it, I'll just walk away and see how it feels to do it. And I think that's very worthwhile to do that. Vicki, if people want to work with you or if corporations want to get in touch, how will they do that?
So you can call me will you be putting the...
I'll have the phone number and email and everything.
So call or email. My website is in the process of being made, so you can't get through on my website at the moment. And I do have a little YouTube channel called Body and Spine Align, and also a Facebook page called Body and Spine Align. And so you can have a look on there, and there's bits and pieces of information, and you can learn a little bit more about me and my clients there. And so everything's at the moment in a state of progress, which is exciting. And they're the best ways at the moment: phone, email, text, and maybe the Facebook page.
Yeah, excellent. And I'll make sure that everything is in the course notes. People will be able to find Vicki. If you are wanting to have a treatment one-on-one, Vicki is based on the north side of Brisbane, but as she said, she has people travel from everywhere to have treatments. And
I had a lady from New Zealand last week.
Wow. Did she purposely come over, or she just happened to be here?
No, she came to see her family, but she was waiting to come see her family to come and see me as well.
Awesome.
And she said, I've been seeing physios, I've been seeing massage people. She said, and the doctor, she said, I should just fly here. That's a good idea.
Wonderful. Oh, I like it. I like the way she thinks.
I do too.
That's the thing, isn't it? The problem's severe enough. You need to find the right answers for it. And definitely I can highly recommend Vicki and the treatments she does. Thank you for all of that information, Vicki. It's been wonderful. Finally got through with no internet dropout, and we're recording done, and it was a bit of a marathon before that, but it all happened well. And really
persistence pays off.
It certainly does. And thank you. And that's another episode of the We Are Women podcast. Remember, you can always book a strategy call complimentary by going to JanineVosper.com. I look forward to you joining me on the next episode of the We Are Women podcast. Bye-bye for now.
So, do you feel stuck in a rut in business? Visit speechperfect.com.au and download Janine's free ebook to avoid the 5 most common stumbling blocks women face in business. It's jam-packed full of tips to overcome the barriers that could be holding you back from the success that you dream your business will be. We would love you to leave a review of today's episode and share this podcast with other women in need of entrepreneurial inspiration. Subscribe to the next episode now and join the We Are Women community.